How can God use me when I'm not pretty enough? How can God use me when I don't have the education? How can God use me when I feel like I'm not smart enough? How can God use me to make a difference when I'm not good enough compared to others? When I don't fit in, when I'm not accepted, how can God use me? And God is saying, regardless of who you are, regardless of your condition, regardless of what hood you come from, regardless of what church you came up in, regardless, the trauma that you experienced, regardless of what happened to you, regardless of what you've gone through up until this point, God is saying to his people, I can still use you. I can still use you. I can still use you. These lepers were in a condition, we're in a situation now with these 4 lepers. There were 4 of these men. They were 4 of these men who didn't fit, but they fit well together. Lord, I hear you right there. It doesn't matter who you don't fit in with, as long as you fit in with people who accept you for you. As long as you fit in with people who are like-minded as you. Yes, we don't have to fit in with the world, but as long as we accept each other, as long as I have a team who is like-minded with me, as long as I'm around people who accept me for me, then we can do some damage. The Bible says that these were 4 men. They were 4 men. Clearly, they were together. They were together in one place. They were together in one place, and they were having a productive conversation. Look at somebody in your household and say, it's all in your conversation. It's all in the conversations you have. The Bible, not the Bible, in business. In business, it is said that what separates successful businessmen and women from everyone else is their conversation with each other. For they said everyone else discuss a problem and how bad it is. And I'm pausing and I'm saying this figuratively. But what separates a successful businessman or woman in their conversation is, while everyone else is talking about how bad the problem is, the successful businessmen and women are talking about the solution. And so we must understand that it's in your conversations. For these 4 men who are together are having a conversation, my brothers and sisters, and they're having a constructive, a productive conversation. And in this conversation, they're saying, if we go back into a city that don't accept us, if we go back into a situation that don't accept us and beg for them to accept us and beg for them to take us in, the famine will kill us. And if we, here it is, if we stay in the position that we're in, we will die. Can I just give this word right here? Many of us are in a situation, if we go back to a situation or to a people trying to fit in, we will die. And if we choose to do nothing with our lives and accept the fact that we don't fit in, guess what? We will die. But if we walk forward, somebody say walk. Let me see you walk. Let me see you walk forward to a place where I don't know what's going to happen to me. If I go to this place where if I choose to go forward, guess what? There are possibilities. There are possibilities when I walk forward. There are possibilities when I choose to go forward. There's possibilities when I choose to abandon my current condition. When I choose to abandon my current place in life. When I choose to abandon the place that I'm in. If I choose to abandon the fact that I don't need to go after people who don't accept me for me. If I choose to abandon the fact that people don't accept my current condition, people don't accept me for me, I choose to move forward. It's all about your decision making, my brothers and sisters. It's about my current decision making. So these lepers decided, if we're going to die, I'm not going, oh, I hear you, God. In other words, they ask the question, why are we sitting in a place waiting to die? If we're going to die anyway, I would rather die moving forward. Rather die. If I'm going to die anyway, if we all are going to die, I would much rather die living. I would much rather die trying to live. I'd much rather die trying to be productive. I would much rather die moving forward. Much rather die moving forward. And God is saying, I can use you when you decide to be progressive. Yes, we don't understand that. We don't understand what God's madness half the time. I realize, God, I hear you. A lot of us, from our perspective, it seems as though God is not there. It seems as though God is not there, but even in their decision making, even when they really looked at their current condition, when they really looked at the cards that they had to play, the Bible says they decided to move forward. And a lot of us, this is hard for us to understand. Here's why: because even in conditions like this, when it seems like though we have no hope, we have a decision to make. We have a decision that we must make when the cards are not ideal to what we would like them to be. There are still cards that we have to play. For all my spades players, a lot of what separates the good spades players from the average to remedial spades players, the renegers, if we want to put them like that, is we know how to work well with the cards we have been dealt. And so with the cards we have been dealt, it's in my decision making. It's in my decision making. God can still use me. Amen. Put your phone on mute if you will. It's in my decision making. God is beginning to take control. When you decide in your life, I'm not going to try to be accepted by people who don't accept me. When I decide to not do anything with my life, when I decide I'm going to move forward, God said, I can use you. I hear God saying that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect for me to use you. You just have to decide that, and willing that I will be used by God. Here's how God used them. As they were on their way to the enemy's camp, they said, they really put down to it. It's like, I'm going to die moving forward. The worst thing they can do is either accept us or they kill us. And if they accept us, then we'll get fed and we'll have everything we need. But if they kill us, then guess what? We die. The worst that can happen is we die. How dangerous are you when you accept the possibilities of the worst thing that can happen to me is die? Worst thing that can happen to me is that I die. Yeah, some of us are afraid to die, but here's the thing. God is saying to us, the worst thing that can happen is die. For the word says to be absent from the body is to be in the presence of God. This is not just for funeral talk. This is literally the possibilities that we have, that if I'm going to die going forward, when I die, I'm going to stand before God knowing that I was moving forward. What's the worst that can happen? Would I die? These lepers were moving forward. But here's the shouting part right here, that while they were moving forward, they caused their enemies. I'm almost done. They caused their enemies to hear an army. You don't know the damage you're doing while you're walking. You don't know that while you're walking forward, while you're walking through your Monday, while you're walking through your Tuesday, while you're walking through your Wednesday, weary and wounded and sad, when you're walking through your Thursday and your Friday, when you're walking through the disappointments, and when you're walking through your job, knowing people are conspiring against you, when weapons are forming, when you're walking through your Monday knowing that people don't like you, when you're walking through your Monday knowing that the enemy's trying to set traps, when you're walking through your Thursday, when knowing that you have a lot on your plate, when you're knowing that people don't accept you, knowing that people are not with you, knowing that you're going through, knowing that you're stressed, knowing that you're frustrated, knowing that you need God to make a way. I'm walking regardless of my condition. I'm walking regardless of how I'm feeling. I'm walking. And here it is, while I'm walking, God is causing my enemies to hear army. It's something about when me and the people that I'm walking with, when we decide to walk through a pandemic, when we're walking through the possibilities of me dying. Knowing that it's a possibility that we can die, but as long as I have people around me who are walking with me and holding me up and encouraging me, and I'm encouraging them, it's in the unity where 2 or 3 gathered together. God said, I will be one in the midst. And when I'm one in the midst, I can make your steps sound like armies. I can make your steps sound like foot soldiers. I can make you make an impact when you decide to walk forward. Let me see you walk. Walk with purpose. Walk with vigor. Walk with determination. Walk with fire behind your step, knowing that every time I walk, God is making my steps count. When I walk, my steps are counting. Yes, I feel a certain type of way, but my steps are counting. Yes, I feel a certain type of way, but my steps are counting. I just want you to walk around your house right now, knowing that as I walk, my steps are counting. Knowing that as I go through, my steps are counting. Knowing as I walk around my house, my steps are counting. Knowing as I walk around my job, my steps are counting. Knowing that as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, come here, David, I shall fear no evil. Here's why: because God is with me. And because God is with me, he's causing my steps he's causing my steps. He's causing my steps. He's causing my steps. He's making my steps count. Yes, God. Yes, God. He's making my steps count. He's making my steps count. Look at somebody and say, he's making my steps count. He's causing my steps to count. He's causing my enemy to he's causing my enemies. He's causing my enemies to be scared. Can I just speak prophetically over your life, that as you walk and as you progress and as you move forward and as you walk through your day, the enemy gets scared? Don't you know the enemy's afraid when you decide to walk forward, when you feel that you have no reason to walk forward? Don't you know that every time you decide to move forward, that every time you decide to walk forward, every time you decide to walk, I'm going to walk through this Monday anyway, I'm going to walk through this Tuesday anyway, you're causing your enemies to have fear. Why? Because God is walking with you. Why? Because God is walking with you. I'm walking anyway, despite how I feel. I'm walking anyway, despite the circumstances. I'm walking anyway.
Jesus.
I'm walking anyway.
God. Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God.
Yes, I'm walking anyway.
I'm walking.
I'm walking.
Ooh, Jesus.
I'm walking anyway.
Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God.
And prophetically, I just want to speak prophetically over your life through these lepers, because they decided to walk forward. I hear God saying it's going to pay off.
Hey, God.
And when they got to the enemy's camp, they didn't see the enemy. Ah, they didn't see the enemy, but they saw everything they need.
Yes, God. Yes, God.
They saw everything they need. God said, I will supply all of your needs
Ooh, God. Yes, God. God, we thank you.
according to my
Thank
riches
you,
and glory.
Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Thank
I'm just speaking the word. Here it is. Here's why, because the earth is the Lord's. And the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein. And so you must understand that as you move forward, God said, I can cause some things to happen.
you. Yes, God. Yes,
But if here's another word, if I can speak so much truth, and if you can accept this truth right here, what separates us from everyone else is decide when God blesses me, what am I doing with what I'm blessing?
Ooh, my God. My God.
Here's here, bye. I thought I was done. Here's the thing. Here's the word. Here's the word. What separates us from everybody else is what you do with what God blessed you with. And so what they did, they had another conversation, Bishop. They had another conversation. It's like, listen, we can't just have this to ourselves. Let's go back to the place where they don't accept us.
Oh, God, glory to your name, Jesus.
Let's go back to the very city where they consider us unclean. Let us go back to the very people and let them know that God made a way.
Jesus.
Can I speak this over your life? To everybody that caused you harm, everybody that didn't accept you, to everybody that walked out on you, that everybody that spoke down on your name, that everybody that tried to conspire against you. Guess what? Their livelihood is in your hands. God said, I'm not going to. This is why we ought to pray for our enemies, because their very fate is in our prayers. Their very fate is in the goodness of our hearts. And so what separates us from everybody else, it's like the best revenge I can give you is the revenge of love. When that when you offer me hate, I'm gonna offer you love. And the love that I give you is the type of love that I'm going to bring your enemies out through you. I'm gonna cause them to survive because you're a good person. I'm gonna cause them to make it because of your prayers. I'm gonna cause them to make it and have everything they need in a pandemic and in a famine because of your heart.
Yes, God. Yes, God. Yes, God.
And it's all because you decided to walk.
Yes, God. Yes, God.
It's all because you decided to walk. You decided, I'm going to walk through this.
Yes. Yes.
What are you walking in? What are you walking in?
Ooh, Jesus.
It's causing you so much frustration. Matter of fact, isn't it here? I hear God saying, for a lot of us, it's not even what we're going through, is what we're anticipating.
Oh, Jesus.
You worried about what might happen, and God said, I already got it all planned out. If you just continue to walk, you'll find that when you get there, I already worked everything out.
Hallelujah, God.
Every step you take, I'm causing you to sound like an army.
Yes, God. Yes, God.
The closer you get to your destination, the more and more they want you to stop. Because the closer you get, the more and more they know they have to get out. You got God with you.
Yes, God. Hallelujah.
Here it is. Oh, I hear God saying this, and we're transitioning to prayer real quick. But I hear God saying this. God is saying,